What are we seeing there?
Kalev, this is some of the damage from last week's rioting and the fires that took place. In some cases, entire blocks, as you can see here, were destroyed by the fires. The good news is the last couple of nights here in Minneapolis have been far more quiet than all of last week's rioting. There were a number of arrests last night here, over 100 of them, but in a new tack, the protesters willingly gave themselves up to be arrested peacefully. It's a miracle that the protesters on the ground there, none of them were seriously hurt. So the protesters jumped into the cab of the truck, and witnesses say pulled out that driver who was screaming for his life in a fetal position.
Tell us a little bit more about how this funeral is going to take place.
Isabel, the most important attendant of all, just arrived. George Floyd himself arrived in the casket. You can see back there the hearse just pulled up. And this is a private funeral for George Floyd, but it certainly doesn't feel that way. It'll be live streamed across the world. And as you can see here, there's media from all over the world that have shown up as well. They are going to try to do social distancing. There are a couple of speakers up there you might be able to see that's blasting out the services inside to all these people on the street. And there are hundreds and hundreds of them out here to pay respects to George Floyd. Many of them are holding roses. In the meantime, some breaking news just in the last few minutes. At least 6 campaign staffers for Donald Trump have tested positive for the coronavirus here in Tulsa as they were getting ready for this big rally.
Right, he's in his 30s, and Mayor Frey has been very empathetic to all that's been going on here, very supportive of the protests. He promised yesterday, look, this police department needs a top-to-bottom complete overhaul, but he just feels like defunding it and disbanding it is a bridge too far.
Second-degree murder for the central figure in the case.
Right, a ton of relief for everybody here, I think, in the community, Kalev. Again, this was expected at some point. But a lot of people are saying, look, this is not the end. This big service that we're witnessing here is not the end. The charges against those other officers and the upgraded charges against Chauvin are not the end. And in fact, to that end, the governor of Minnesota is calling in all the state's lawmakers into a special session of the legislature next week to address all kinds of racism in society.
Sarah, a much more calm night last night here in Minneapolis, thanks to the thousands more law enforcement officers who were on the scene last night to keep the peace. So today, people are just coming out and realizing the incredible damage here. In some cases, blocks of buildings and businesses were destroyed. Just a number of arrests, but really all about breaking curfew, nothing really terribly violent. And as you see today, well, local people, thousands of them, have been coming out to just volunteer their time to do cleanup with dustpans and brushes, anything they can do to try to take back their streets.